in Brazil means you have natural sense to rhythm. How has coming to UK changed you?
In what sense you are meaning? How it changed me rhythmically?
You have very strong rhythmic roots. Right?
Yeah.
And coming here, it's completely different place.
Yeah, it's the different logic. Yeah, of course. Yeah. I don't think the place makes much difference because I always was in touch with English music and this type of music and stuff like that, you know. I think being raised in Brazil is a way to complement the music that I always was used to listen and stuff like that, you know. Because my dad is English, I was raised listening to Beatles and Bee Gees and Bach and Mozart and stuff like that, you know. That type of logic was used already. But rhythmically is very different here, yeah. The swing is completely different and the approach to the rhythm part of the music is completely different as well.
So you say that coming here in the next compositions are going to be a little different because of that?
Maybe, yes. Because for the last years I went to different types of gigs, you know. I saw musicians from all over the world, from the United States, from England, and from other countries, you know. And it's obviously, it has a big influence on the way I think about music, you know. For sure, my next CD is sounding a little bit different, you know.
The rest of the band is located in Brazil. How hard is to create music with distant musicians? How are Marcus and Andre involved in the process of actually creating the stuff?
Yeah. Because Marcus and Andre, they have their own band. You know, Marcus plays drums at the Stormental, and Andre Arreio Sem Freio is like a Brazilian Latin instrumental music and stuff like that, you know. We didn't used to rehearse a lot. We know each other for like 20 years or something like that, you know, for a long time. Or maybe over that. Andre, for instance, I know for 30 years. And we played together in different types of band, playing from heavy metal until blues and bossa nova and Brazilian samba and stuff like that, you know. So for us, playing together is very natural. We don't need to rehearse a lot. We can just write an idea, send via email to the other one, you know. It's more or less the same way we are working now, because what I do normally, I write the songs and I record my guitar parts, I send via email to Brazil. Marcus can try to play some drums on the top, then he records the drums, he sends me back and stuff like that, you know. In certain way, it's much easier to do that way, because we avoid losing time going to rehearsals in studio and stuff like that. But that part is important. That's the reason they came to England to spend 1 month, because we need to play the new stuff together. And that's what we did here.
Did it change the way things work? Because we were working separately, being together and playing actually together. Did it
for sure.
Something?
Yeah, for sure. Because some stuff really doesn't work the way we thought it would work, you know. Then playing together, oh, let's change the speed of the song, or let's do the drums different or something like that, you know. It's completely different. It's necessary to have this intimate part, you know, playing together to see what works and what really doesn't work, you know.
Your latest album came out in 2010.
Yeah,
Meanwhile,
December, yeah.
you released another EP. And when can we expect your next work?
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit more exaggerated than the first work, you know. I play rock instrumental music, but a little touch of different styles of music. Some songs can sound a little bit bluesy, other sounds can be more jazzy, more fusion, something like that. Other songs are a heavy side, you know, similar to a heavy metal song or something like that. This CD is more or less the same approach, but the metal song is more metal now. The jazz song is more jazzy, the blues song is more bluesy and stuff like that, you know. And I'm trying to focus much more on the melody. Then it's very melodic, this new CD, you know, that's the difference. And we are improving the rhythmic part as well, building some contrapoints and counterpoints and stuff like that, you know.
And when do you expect people can hear some of it?
Some of it? That's a good question. I hope this year we can release the CD, yeah. Takes a while, you know, because they're going back to Brazil and we need to finish all the arrangements, we need to start to record all the stuff, and probably I'm going back to Brazil to record my guitar parts as well on the same studio, and after that we need to mix and get a design to make the covers and stuff like that, and all that take time, you know.
Your song seems to be constructed in this melodic approach, as opposed to basing it on patterns and repetitive patterns. So do you do this intentionally, like trying to tell a story, or do you try to script the whole thing before and then go for...
Yeah, that's a good question. I wrote it so really quick in the CD. Normally I spend like 1 or 2 days per music to write it. I didn't have much time to waste working a lot in each song, you know. But each song I did a different approach. Some music from the CD I started on the beginning. I did the intro for the music, and then the first part, and then the bridge, and then the chorus, and then the solo, like history or something like that, you know? Like a movie or something like that. Other songs were completely different. I started on the middle of the song, and then after I did the solo, and after the intro, and after the ending, and stuff like that, you know? I like to compose in that way. I always change my method. You know? I do what suit me best on that time, and that's it, you know?
And speaking about the movie thing, do you ever write? Do you ever read something inspired by a movie or by a book?
Let me think.
To try to accompany the whole story.
Yeah, that's right. No, but in this CD, I got a song called The Forest. When I try to simulate songs from the forest with my guitar, you know? Then I use all kinds of effects, like trying to simulate thunderstorms with the guitar and percussion and bird sounds and other types of effects, you know, to create an image or something like that. Yeah. But I don't think I ever composed something based on a movie.
Yeah, that's interesting. These effects and the very different aspects of the music. It's a very important thing in your music. You have, for instance, a very fast lead playing, and the music flow, the main music flow, is quite not so fast. It's a little bit mid or low tempo.
Yeah.
Is this something that you try to do on the songs to enhance it, like opposing stuff, like the back
it is. I think one of the secrets of a good song, of a good composition, is contrast. Always building contrast. So normally if I'm going to play fast on some parts, I avoid to put a beat very fast as well, you know. I like this type of contrast, you know. The treble and the bass parts at the same time, for instance, or play on tempo and out of the tempo, playing with tensions sometimes and other times with no tension at all, and changing the speed a lot and stuff like that, you know. I enjoy very much making music in middle tempo, not very fast, not very slow.
You said that you try to always move away from, try to build songs in a different way.
Yeah.
Do you ever find yourself trying to break your own patterns and apply some mathematical stuff to break your patterns?
The composition?
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah. Sometimes I can be very mathematical, you know. But for instance, I can think, now I'm going to write a riff for this song. What about instead of writing the riff in 4, trying to write it in 5 or 7 or something like that, just so it can sound a little bit different, you know. But the compositional part is not attached with a mathematical process, you know. It's very intuitive and stuff like that. I let it flow normally, yeah. But I can start in a mathematical way, just to have a reason to write that riff or that part of the song or something like that, you know.
When you on your compositions, and usually when you have a record by a lead guitar as the main artist, usually we have like discs where the guitar is always the most important thing.
Yeah.
And there is no transition of focus between the instruments.
Okay.
Do you have attention on this? Do you try to, when you're making your songs, like your compositions, cover all the range of the instruments, or do you think that they have to contribute to the song?
Yeah, I think every instrument is important equally inside of music. You know, that's the reason when normally I write my songs, normally I don't program drums or bass or anything like that, you know. Or if I do it in a very simple way, just to illustrate what I'm thinking about that music, you know. If it's going to be high speed or low, if it's going to be groove or something like that. And normally I leave the drums with Marcos, I leave the bass with Andre. They can build anything they want, you know. Normally we can discuss some part, say, oh, do you think this should be in a fast tempo, or should be with lots of notes or less notes, or something like that, you know? But I think it's very important for each music to put a little of his own touch in my music, you know? And I understand about guitar, but I don't understand that much about drums, you know? That's the reason I don't write the drums. I think Marco can do a much better job than me writing his own drums, and the same with Andre and stuff like that, you know? And I think, well, the better they can play, is the better for my CD, you know? If he plays incredible drums in my CD, you know, that's fantastic.
Is there a space for vocals in your work? Have you ever considered a guest vocalist for a song?
No, I don't think so. I like instrumental music and that's it, yeah.
In the Mental Storm,
Yeah.
you have a very intriguing outro, ending of the song.
Yeah.
Can you please explain what went through your mind to put that there? Because the song is flowing in a certain way and then suddenly...
Yeah, it ends, yeah. It's more or less the same part from the intro, you know?
Yeah.
And believe it or not, it's the same harmony from the main melody of the music. If you listen, you can listen to the same keyboards behind the main melody of the music, you know? It's a way, I build all the song over that arrangement, that string arrangements from the beginning, you know? And then it's like a way of closing a circle. You start on a point and you return to the same point. It's more or less that, you know?
I can see that you have very, you are very, you like very much explaining the way that led you to build the stuff. Which is very good, and your sleeve design and the way that the notes that you wrote about the songs are illustrative of that. As you highlight and describe the techniques and motivation for certain parts.
Yeah.
What made you go for such a skill?
Approach? I don't think, maybe it's too many years teaching guitar or something like that, you know, because I teach guitar for over 20 years now. And my dad is a teacher, my mother is a teacher. I come from this type of family, you know. I'm so used talking about music and stuff like that with my students and with other musicians and stuff like that. Would be perfect, for instance. My first idea was to release the CD maybe with a book or something like that, with all the transcriptions of the songs and stuff like that, and talking about each part and saying, because instrumental music can be sometimes a little hard to listen, you know. Because you need to get used to it. You need to really learn to start to appreciate each part of the song and stuff like that. And if you transcribe the song and you explain, you can make the process easier, you know? Who is listening can understand the music in another way, you know? Because there are two types of listening. One can be very intuitive. You just close your eyes and you're sensing the music, you're feeling the parts, and that works with emotion and stuff like that. And the other way of listening to it is in a rational way, where you can understand how things are viewed and stuff like that. And I think when you can combine these two ways, you really can understand a song. And that's the reason I did that.
Very well. How do you come up with the song titles for instrumental tracks? It's always...
Yeah, it's very hard. Yeah. Yeah, for me it was really a problem, you know, because first I had numbers for each song. Music number 1, number 2, number 3, that goes. Then in the final CD, in the final master, I had to change. For instance, the first music number 1, now is the 4th music of the CD. My first music from the CD, that is Cold Fusion, used to be number 6 and stuff like that. And normally, when I hear a song, I can see a color. This song for me is blue, this song for me is green or something like that, you know? Then I had to find a name for the music with the same color of the song. It looks a little bit crazy, but that was the process, you know? Then I had to choose a name with the same color of the song.
Usually players of your level need to concentrate on teaching careers. Do you have other projects? Have you been a guest on other people's albums?
I play in different projects here in London. There's my trio, yeah, it's Denis Warren trio. Maybe it's going to be a quartet someday or something like that, you know, or quintet, you never know. I play in a pop rock band called No Mystery here, with another Brazilian player, he plays bass guitar, and an Italian couple, a drummer and a lead singer, female lead singer. We play in pubs and stuff like that. And I'm playing a rock progressive band from England as well, from London, called Far Metal. And they already got their CD recorded, but I'm going to put some guitars on the top before they release the CD.
Alright. With this new album that you're releasing next year, or this year eventually, can we expect some touring?
Touring? Oh, I hope so. I'm expecting some touring as well, you know, for sure.
How do you approach today's download culture? What's the meaning of releasing an album as opposed to releasing just singles or EPs?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. Today it's impossible to fight against downloading and piracy and stuff like that, you know? I think it's, in certain ways, a very good thing because your music can spread all around the world very quickly, you know? But of course, I come from a time that people used to buy discs, CDs and stuff like that. That's the reason I want to make my own CD so I can have something to hold, you know, to touch and stuff like that, you know. But normally, most of my listeners, they are downloading my music from the internet or buying from iTunes and stuff like that, you know. It's a good way to get known all around the world. There's some people, for instance, people in the United States who bought my music, people in Indonesia who bought my music, people in Australia that bought my music, you know? And that's all due to the downloading process.
Vinyl is still a very lively market. Have you ever considered doing some pressings of your records?
In vinyl? Yeah, it would be like a dream, you know, but it's a little bit hard, you know, to do it on your own. taking the money from your pocket to do it, you know? Because the first CD and the EP, I paid all with my own money. And the next CD probably is going to be taking money from my pocket as well. So I don't think I'm going to be doing some vinyls or stuff like that. Maybe, I don't know, if some company has the interest or something like that, why not? You know, it would be fantastic to do.
About the new way people listening to music. When you were mastering the album, were you taking any specific measures to make it sound good on all the new devices, like people use like phones
and stuff like that? That's a good and a hard question at the same time, you know, because where to draw the line, you know, because people are listening to music on terrible devices, you know. A speaker from a laptop, for instance, is terrible. Some earphones, cheap earphones, are really terrible, you know. So should we change our mastering to fit that kind of stuff, you know, just to try to sound it better? I don't think that much, you know. We did the mastering so it can sound in a good equipment, in a good way as well. But of course, we heard the CD on different types of CD players and iPods and stuff like that to see if it's sounding okay as well, you know. But it wasn't our focus.
So in this next album is going to be a complete traditional release, like a CD, and then you're going to release some tracks on the internet to sell on the internet, or are you going to do some special stuff?
Special stuff, yeah.
Like,
the first CD, I released the CD, and I think 10 days after I released an EP. Normally an EP is a way to try to raise more money or something like that, you know. Before you release your CD, you release one song from the CD previously with other stuff together just to get some more money and blah blah blah. That's the reason I changed. My EPs was released after the CD with 2 new songs, completely different songs, you know. My next CD is going to be released more or less in the same way. I'm going to release first the CD and after the EP. There's a song from my new CD called The Forest, when I try to do some songs from The Forest with my guitar, blah 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 blah. It's going to be a 45-minute song, more or less 50-minute song in once, you know, divided in parts, but it's going to be one song. And on my CD, I'm putting only the first part. The first part is 5 minutes long, and it's going to be on the CD. And the EP is going to be the whole song. Then the EP is going to be more or less a new CD, because it's not really an EP, you know, with 45 minutes. But I'm changing the idea of the EP, releasing that way, you know. The EP is something to complement the CD. That's the idea.
And are you planning to do some bonus material, like studio bloopers or the recording process, touring?
YouTube probably. That's important, you know. The process from the rehearsals and the recording, not necessarily bloopers, but images from the recording and stuff like that. Yeah, for sure. You know, all that kind of material is very important, so people can get to know not only the music but the process behind the music as well.
What's the best advice you can give to a guy starting to learn how to play guitar who wants to reach your level?
Yeah, study a lot. Every day. Take it seriously, you know? It's not playing 10 hours one day and then 1 month without getting in touch with the instrument. So play, you don't have to study 10 hours a day, but if you have only 1 hour to study every day, do it, you know? Always in touch with your instrument, play with different musicians, play different types of music, listen to lots and lots and lots of music. And learn as well that music is not about competition, it's about trying to get a good melody to write good compositions and stuff like that, then do it your own way. See? Understand what you're good at and try to be better in that.
Alright, thank you very much.
Cheers.
Thank you.